In Fantastic Four number 280, things went south real fast. The team's base, the Baxter Building, was torn out of the ground and blown up in space. While the police came to investigate, things spiraled out of control. Part-time team members, She-Hulk and Wyatt Wingfoot, were arrested after trying to protect an old man from a violent officer. On the way to the station, their van was attacked. She-Hulk immediately sensed something was wrong. The city felt like it was drowning in anger and chaos. She left the old man with Wyatt and went to find the rest of the team. But before she could, a mysterious woman in a black suit with spikes and a mask stood in her way. A fight broke out. She-Hulk gave it everything she had, but the masked woman hit back with violent energy blasts and completely overpowered her. She-Hulk was knocked out, and let me tell you, knocking out a Hulk is no easy feat. And then came the twist. The woman pulled off her mask, revealing herself to be Sue Storm. But this wasn't the Invisible Woman. This was Malice. So, how did Sue turn into Malice? Why did she attack her own teammate? That's what we're breaking down in today's video, so grab a snack and settle in as we dig into one of the darkest turns in the Fantastic Four's fantastic history. But before we jump in, if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's just a small click for you, but it helps us out a ton. Malice Origins. For the origins, we're still in Fantastic Four number 280. After arresting She-Hulk and the old man, the police left the scene, but the main trouble began after that. Suddenly, the crowd surrounding the Fantastic Four members and their allies turned hostile and transformed into a violent mob. A man from nowhere threw a brick at Alicia, the blind girlfriend of the Thing, but Johnny, aka the Human Torch, saved her. Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, asked Johnny not to retaliate against the angry mob as they were still normal humans. Reed asked Sue to create an invisible force field to protect them from further attacks, but behind the force field, Reed observed the situation deeply and sensed something abnormal in the behavior of the violent crowd, as if they were being manipulated by an external force. As you might have guessed, Reed's hunch was absolutely spot on. I mean, they usually are. This mob was the result of the efforts of Psycho Man and his underling Hate Monger. But why? Psycho Man was a mad scientist who ruled a world within the microverse and had the ability to control the emotions and mental states of his enemies. When his world was facing the threat of overpopulation, he crossed dimensions to find a new place that could serve his people. He targeted Earth as he thought the inhabitants would be incapable of resisting his advanced weaponry, but when he tried to overtake Earth, the Fantastic Four thwarted his plans and forced him to return to the microverse. However, the wounds of defeat remained fresh in his mind and soul, and he vowed revenge. Psycho Man created an android in his microverse that had the power to induce hatred in people's minds. He named the android H.M. Unger, also known as the Hate Monger. This was a brand new version of a classic character, so don't get him confused with other hate mongers, including the one that was a man-beast or the one that was a clone of Adolf Hitler. Those guys were completely different. Psycho Man returned to New York with his android Hate Monger with a single motive: crushing the Fantastic Four and the other heroes of Earth forever. Hate Monger planted the seed of rage and violence in every citizen's mind and caused this commotion, but what was their plan? Did they intend to use normal people's rage to kill the members of the Fantastic Four? Nope, they had a much more sinister plan in mind. When Johnny dropped Reed off at the Avengers Mansion, Sue made herself and Alicia invisible and quietly slipped out from the chaotic mob. Both ladies were still alone in the streets without the slightest clue that they were heading right into the trap set by Psycho Man and Hate Monger, who were witnessing all the drama behind a dark, silent corner. When Sue and Alicia were passing through a lonely passage, they encountered Hate Monger, who was wearing Reed's face mask. Hate Monger made Sue believe that he was Reed with the face mask and tricked her into coming with him alone. Sue failed to see through the Hate Monger's deceit and went with him, leaving Alicia behind. Later, Hate Monger used his powers to alter Sue's feelings for her team members and intoxicate her mind with hate. As a result, Sue now wanted to kill the same people whom she had adored forever. And that is how Malice, aka Sue's evil alter ego, was born. But that wasn't the only case. Sue's newfound hate amplified the levels of all of her existing powers, such as invisibility, creating force fields, and levitation, and it made her an unstoppable threat. She freed herself from every moral and ethical restriction, which allowed her to completely unlock the cosmic potential of her powers. Now, the question remains, did Sue return to her former self, or were Psycho Man and Hate Monger able to finish off the Fantastic Four forever? After turning into Malice, Sue was bursting with all her pent-up frustrations. She almost killed her brother Johnny, but her husband Reed played a different game. To bring his beloved Sue back to her senses, Reed realized that he had to appeal to her hate. So, Reed abused her, physically and verbally, and this move proved to be a masterstroke as Sue couldn't handle any more hate and returned to her former self. Later, Sue was heartbroken when she found out that Psycho Man and Hate Monger had messed with her mind and turned her against the people she loved. She swore to make them pay. Sue eventually caught Psycho Man and made him feel the same kind of pain she went through. It messed him up so badly that his nervous system shut down, but even then, Sue didn't kill him. She let him live, and he went back to his own world. This whole experience changed Sue forever. She officially started calling herself the Invisible Woman, a big upgrade from the Invisible Girl. Not just because of her powers, but also to remind herself who she really was. Deep down, she was still scared that Malice, her dark side, just might come back. Holding on to her true identity was the only way to keep herself from breaking down again. If we talk about the real culprit, though, Android Hate Monger was violently killed by the Scourge of the Underworld after the Fantastic Four defeated him. But the big question is, did Malice reappear in Sue's life again? Actually, yeah, Malice once again emerged in Sue's life in Fantastic Four number 392. In this issue, Sue and Reed joined forces with the Silver Surfer on a mission to retrieve the Infinity Gems from the Elders of the Universe. During the mission, Sue's Malice persona reappeared to gain control of the Soul Gem. However, Malice was defeated, and Sue once more regained complete control of her body. Again, in Infinity War, Malice tried to take over Sue's mind and soul, but instead of defeating her again and again, Sue made a bold attempt and merged herself with Malice to stop all the internal conflicts at once. But this move proved to be costly as Sue's Malice persona started to reflect on her behavior and personality. She started wearing revealing clothes and became prone to angry outbursts and violent use of power. Later, Psylord, who was the future teenage version of Reed and Sue's son, Franklin Richards, removed every essence of Malice from Sue's body. But the story doesn't end there. Psylord and Sue once again summoned Malice to take on the Dark Raider, who was the evil version of Reed Richards from an alternate reality. Sue and Psylord forced Malice's persona into Raider's mind, which led to his defeat and destruction. Malice remained in Raider's psyche during the destruction and was presumed to be destroyed. Invisible Woman was forever free from the darkest shadows of Malice and the unbearable weight of hate. Marvelous conclusion! Alright, that's a wrap on today's video, but before we go, here's something fun to think about. With Fantastic Four First Steps having just come out, do you think there's any chance we'll see Malice show up in the MCU? There were a couple of times during that film where Sue was badass and scary, but maybe that's just typical Mama Bear stuff, you know? I mean, with Secret Wars and Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom looming on the horizon, the team's gonna need some serious firepower. And maybe, just maybe, Malice could be their wild card. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Were there any hints of this alternate personality in the film? Is there any chance of it appearing later? And while you're at it, let us know which comic characters you'd love to see us cover next. We're always looking for ideas for new videos, and honestly, we're always playing Marvel Rivals too. So thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a fantastic day.